Ohio State is in a good position to land former five-star recruit Damon Wilson, who recently entered the transfer portal.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Thursday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. During today's show, we will push back against a narrative about Will Howard, as well as discuss the benefit of Ohio State getting extra practice in January. But before we get to any of that, Ohio State is currently in a good position to land former five-star recruit Damon Wilson, who recently entered the transfer portal. The Buckeyes lost out when he was a high school prospect, but they have a chance to get him right now when he's in the portal. And among the schools that are trying to push for him heavily right now, I think the Buckeyes have the best shot to get him, because Damon Wilson is one of those guys, if you can get him, you got to do everything you can. Put all your chips in on trying to get this talented young man. He played 2 years down in Georgia, played 12 games his freshman year, 14 games this current season. For his career, he has 26 combined tackles, 7 TFLs, and 3.5 sacks, add in 2 fumble recoveries and 2 forced fumbles as well. He is a guy that I think when it comes to Jim Knowles' defense and next year and some wrinkles we might see from Jim Knowles in 2025, I think he fits it perfectly. I think we think about Jim Knowles potentially going heavier in using the jack position, or even if it's a traditional 4-down lineman front or 3 defensive linemen are being utilized, whichever variation of a defense Jim Knowles wants to utilize, Damon Wilson can fit it. He's that athletic. He's 6'4", 250. He has those kind of traits that you want from a pass rusher that would be perfect for Ohio State. And the way that Ohio State's defense has played lately and getting more pressure on quarterbacks, not just in the playoff, but including in the final half of the regular season, I think that's another reason why Ohio State would not just be a great fit, but why Ohio State is in a good position to land him, because you have guys like Jack Sawyer, and you have guys like Toy Malowau. When you also put in Mitchell Melton, who's been hit by the injury bug, but when he got out there, he's been playing. You add in Keaton Jackson Jr. and Caden Curry and how they consistently make plays and are out on the field. They're all being taught and coached by Larry Johnson. And Larry Johnson, from everything I'm hearing and believing, he's going to be at Ohio State coaching in 2025. He's going to be a guy leading the defensive line room. And he has done a great job right now getting those guys to be hitting on all cylinders at this point in the season during the playoff, as Ohio State is still pushing for a national championship in 2024 in that season. I think Larry Johnson's presence and his pedigree and his track record is huge right now to try to get Damon Wilson, because you don't want to potentially lose Larry Johnson to retirement or bring somebody else in because you let Larry Johnson go. And next thing you know, Damon Wilson is saying, if y'all would have kept LJ, I'd be right there in Columbus practicing with y'all. But no, y'all got rid of him, or maybe he retired. Next thing you know, he's going elsewhere. Now, some of the other schools that are in the running for him, Missouri, Florida, and Florida State. I say it like that because I think Ohio State is head and shoulders above all 3 of those programs right now. Not just because Ohio State is currently in the Final Four, but that block O means something, baby. When you see that block O on somebody's chest, or maybe on their hat, or maybe somebody you know has a tattoo of the block O on them somewhere, it hits a little bit different than when you see that Florida Gator, or currently you see the Florida Seminole, or if you see a Missouri Tiger on somewhere. That block O just hits different. It's also going to hit different because it's Ohio State. The track record speaks for itself. There's a reason why TV networks, ESPN, Fox, NBC, CBS, they all want Ohio State on their network. It's a ratings bonanza. Every time Ohio State's on TV, the ratings are stupid. Now, maybe you are someone that saw the ratings from the Rose Bowl and say, well, Jay, this don't stack up from some other Rose Bowls. Look and see if the other Rose Bowl is on ESPN or if it's on ABC. Because one of the oddest things that ESPN did this year was they didn't put any of those quarterfinal games on ABCs. It seemed like a massive miss. Now, New Year's Eve, I understand it's a massive day for ABC to bring in the new year with their own special programming. And I get that. You're not going to win that if you're the CFP, which is another reason why playing a playoff game on New Year's Eve in prime time is dumb. During the day, even dumber. I almost said stupider. It's not a word. Even dumber. And so Ohio State right now, go get Damon Wilson. As I have been trying to look ahead and trying to project next year's depth chart, I haven't factored in some of the incoming transfers into that yet, or I haven't put all of the incoming freshmen into that chart yet. But one thing I do know is at defensive end, outside of Kenyatta Jackson Jr. and Caden Curry, you don't know who's going to be in that rotation. You don't. Now, maybe you do, and you say, well, I got this crystal ball, and this crystal thing tells me X, Y, and Z. Great. Good for you. You got that. As I'm putting stuff down, I don't have that ability. But I do have the ability to speculate what it would look like if Damon Wilson transferred to Ohio State. Also, I think Ryan Day right now is a big reason why Ohio State could land him. Ryan Day and Jim Knowles. Ohio State missed out on Caleb Downs when he was in high school. And actually, same recruiting cycle as Damon Wilson, too. Just another added thing there. They missed out on Caleb Downs. He decided to go play football down there in Tuscaloosa. The moment he entered the portal after Nick Saban retired, Ohio State realized, baby, we got a second chance. They pursued him. They pursued him on the broadcast during the Rose Bowl. I believe it was Kirk Herbstreit who talked about what it took from Jim Knowles to go down to Tuscaloosa or to go down to where Caleb Downs was to get Caleb Downs to come play football in Columbus. And that was a massive story. It was fun hearing that story, but also that's the kind of pursuit and that's the kind of intensity you need to go down there and get Damon Wilson. You need to go out there and do everything you can. Make sure you answer all the questions. Make sure the NIL is the way that it needs to be. Make sure that there's nothing left on the table for you to do to go get him. You know how right now Ohio State is saying whatever it takes to win the game. That's what we're going to do. That's our mindset. That's our mission right now, is to do whatever it takes to win. Shouldn't that be what it is right now for Ohio State, to do whatever it takes to land this young man? Now, I'm not saying go out there and do some illegal stuff or anything like that. There's enough Ohio State can do within the rules that aren't even governed right now. But if they stay within the rules, there's enough Ohio State can do right now to land Damon Wilson, because you got to do it. Go out there and get this young man, land him, and bring him to Columbus. And then lots of people, it's hard to say, maybe he could be a jack position. Maybe he's ideal for that. Maybe he could be just a straight edge rusher, or maybe he could be in a 3-4 look that Ohio State might run next year. Whatever look Ohio State wants to play next year on defense, there's a spot for Damon Wilson, because he's that kind of special athlete, special talent that Ohio State wants on the roster. Go do it, man. Ryan Day, Jim Knowles, Larry Johnson, go do it. If you got to go add in some other reinforcements, great. Whatever you got to do, go get Damon Wilson and bring him up to Columbus, because among those schools that are the ones I listed earlier, I think as I said that, you're probably like me thinking, oh, Ohio State has this. Ohio State has it in the bag. I wouldn't say they got it in the bag. They got to put the work in. But if they put the work in, I think they have the best shot among those schools to land this talented edge rusher. One thing that I think is a massive benefit for Ohio State when it comes to the early portal window that Damon Wilson entered, it allows them to do some special things with the guys that come to school right now to transfer to Ohio State. We'll dive into that next. This episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That definitely happened to me. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Thank you all for tapping into Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. One of the massive benefits of the early transfer portal window is being able to get guys on campus right away. A guy may enter the portal when it first opens up at the beginning portion of December. Next thing you know, a week later, he's committed to your school. Bam, get him on campus, get him enrolled in school, and you're able to start to work with him to get him ready, teach him the playbook, and you're able to help him prepare for the upcoming season. Now, Ohio State has another benefit of this not getting guys on campus now. They're still playing football. They're still practicing with pads, putting them pants on, and doing the things to prepare, not just for the game on Friday, but in the pursuit of the game against Texas, they're pursuing a national championship. Yes, it's one game at a time, but you win this game, you realize there's only one more game left. And that's for all the marbles. And Ohio State's in a great chance to win the national championship because I think they are the favorite and they should beat Texas on Friday. But also, this week, there are going to be guys down there in Dallas, Texas that are incoming transfers. There's a couple offensive linemen, names escape me right now, that I've seen of them in pictures and videos during practice. There's going to be some incoming freshmen, guys like Tavian, Sinclair. I believe Devin Sanchez is already with the school. Other guys such as Bo Jackson, another guy like Bo Jackson is going to be there too. There's a lot of guys right now that are taking full advantage of this benefit of getting practice time in January that a lot of other schools don't have. And there was a video that I saw circulating, which adds to why I just love this portion of the year where the portal is benefiting Ohio State season in 2025. It was Tavian Sinclair throwing a ball to Bo Jackson, incoming freshman. They're both Ohio kids. Bo Jackson was injured during his senior year of high school football. He's now healthy, back on the practice field. And on this play, Tavian Sinclair is throwing a quick pass to Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson goes out for the route, doesn't turn his head quick enough, doesn't turn his body quick enough, and the ball goes right past him. Next thing you know, Carlos Locklear is right there coaching him up and showing him what he did wrong from Jump Street. And Carlos Locklear showed him, hey, off the line of scrimmage, don't wait 3 or 4 steps to turn your head, to turn your body. Baby, right away, turn your head, turn your body, and look for the ball. Because if he would have done that, he would have realized how to adjust to it, how to get the thing done. And I love that. I love these coachable moments, the ability for coaches to teach right now in a way that they normally don't have the ability to do it. Texas, Notre Dame, Penn State, they're all taking advantage of this time. No, nobody is expecting anybody's incoming transfer or an incoming freshman to suit up and play. They may be able to suit up. They're not playing in the game against Texas. Even if it's mop-up duty, where against Tennessee, you saw a lot of backups get out there and play. I believe the Ohio State played 4 quarterbacks, Devin Brown, Kean Holtz, and Julian Sand. I believe that was what happened. Great, cool. That's a great opportunity. Ohio State had it. Cool. They didn't do that against Oregon. And I don't know if they're going to do that against Texas. Let's just say Ohio State gets up big, gets up early, and all of a sudden, do you think you're going to play 4 quarterbacks? No, I think you may pull Will Howard once the game is secure. But I don't know if you're going to play Devin Brown, Julian Sand. If anything, you play Devin Brown for a full quarter. He's entering the portal. He's already in it, but he is still on the team. He's still practicing with the team, which is huge. Like, I'm all for the ability for any school out there to take advantage of the time right now. You've earned the right to still play football on January. Now it'll be January 9th, the day of this show. And then you're playing on January 9th or January 10th if you're in the semifinal game. You've earned the right to play it right now. And while you've earned the right to play right now, you've also got to realize you can help yourself for the upcoming season. Now, there is a period of time, and possibly in some people's minds, you're wondering, Jay, couldn't this be bad for the coaches during practice? Couldn't this be a scenario where the players that are there, they might be acting a fool, or they might not be paying attention, or maybe they're getting in the way of the Buckeyes' pursuit of a national championship? Yes, that's the reality, is when you bring people into a team that haven't been there before, even if you spent the time recruiting them, you've talked to all the right people, you've gotten their background, and you believe they're the right person for the team moving forward, there is that thought in the back of everybody's mind, like, man, maybe this ain't it. Maybe this guy's coming in and he's acting a fool during practice, and the next thing you know, it's, hey, man, you got to be quiet. Hey, man, be quiet. No. This ain't for you. You can be here. You're part of the team now, but you still got to lose your black stripe. You still got to earn the right to be a Buckeye. You still got to do X, Y, and Z. But I truly don't think that Ohio State's going to bring guys in that are going to be that kind of cancer. Or if they are, it'd be kind of foolish to do that right now, because they may say, hey, man, you got to do a lot more work to be able to lose your black stripe. Because right now you're on the back of this thing, not on the front moving forward to lose that black stripe. But that's the downside, but that's a rare too. If you're Ohio State, you truly don't think that that's going to happen. And I don't. Like, yes, it's possible, but no. That's not where we're at. I love this, man. I love the fact that Ohio State has the opportunity to be able to get guys like this on campus, but they're also being able to watch future pros, being able to watch Jeremiah Smith, be able to watch Will Howard, be able to watch Tavian here to say, be able to watch fill in the blank player. If I'm Tavian Sinclair and I get a chance right now to watch and to focus and to look at Will Howard and see what Will Howard is doing, I am soaking everything in, because Tavian Sinclair wants to be in a position that Will Howard is currently in. He wants to be a Buckeye. He wants to be someone that can lead Ohio State to a deep playoff run and pursue a national championship while wearing the scarlet and gray. He wants to be able to look at and see what Jeremiah Smith does well, because he's going to compete for the starting quarterback job next year. Not national championship next year. We believe that. But he is going to try to compete for the starting quarterback role next year. Yes, it is believed by many people that Julian Sand is currently the front runner, and I am one of those. I currently believe that Julian Sand is currently the front runner to be QB1 next year. But it's not set in stone. I ain't putting that in pencil, and if I do, it might be erased. It might be one of those things that might get erased, because we got more time. We got more ball to play. There's a lot of months right now where it could be Julian Sand, Lincoln Knowles at the front runner, and maybe Tavian Sinclair shows everybody that he has the goods. Now, I am not a person, never have been and probably never will be, that believes a true freshman is going to come into The Ohio State University and start right away. Do I think Tavian Sinclair is talented? Yes. I don't think he's as special as Jeremiah Smith. No, I don't, which isn't a knock on him. It's the reality that he's good, he is solid, he is going to compete. He's coming in realizing there's 3 quarterbacks that are going to be in that room. Probably 4, because I think Ohio State's going to go out there to the portal and get somebody else. Great. You go out there and get them. That is cool. But for Tavian Sinclair, being able to be around some of these future NFL players and to watch them in practice, see how they prepare, see what they do on game day, see the vibe of the team, see how everything flows, that's a massive advantage. Now, I mentioned Tavian Sinclair. He's an in-state kid. He's a highly sought-after recruit, and I get it. That's why he gets a lot of attention. But for the incoming transfers that are able to get there right now and are able to get a lot more added attention, that is huge for them. Thank y'all for tapping in Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Normally, this isn't the place to come to find a Ohio State guy diving into negative narratives about Ohio State players and pushing back against them. There's enough we can talk about via the games Ohio State plays, or the recruiting, or the portal, or fill in the blank that's positive about Ohio State, without going out there and trying to bring negative stuff on the show. And then there's something Emmanuel Acho of Fox Sports said about Will Howard that was a major miss with his analysis of the way Will Howard is playing when you're comparing the 4 quarterbacks that are still in the field. And I said, we are going to go against what's normally the rule here, and I'm bringing this on here because this is so bad. We got to talk about it. Here's Emmanuel Acho's quote. Here's the beginning of the quote, that we'll dive into the longer portion of it later. Quote, Ohio State has the worst quarterback remaining, period. They have the worst quarterback remaining in Will Howard. I can confidently say that, end quote. Now, many of you hear that and you're thinking, did you watch the game? Even if it was just the Rose Bowl. Did you watch the Rose Bowl? Or maybe you're somebody out there and saying, have you watched any of the 14 games Ohio State has been led by Will Howard on the offensive side of the ball? Have you? Because in my mind, I am thinking that, and I also don't buy into that. No, Will Howard is not a super elite quarterback. No, he would not be one of the guys taken in the first round. I don't believe Will Howard's a first-round quarterback at all. However, you can't sit up here and say Will Howard is the worst quarterback remaining, period. Penn State has Drew Aller. Notre Dame has Riley Leonard. Just think about those two. And then you have Texas has Quinn Ewers, who Ewers may have the most talent out of all four, but the decision-making is not the best, and he's not the most efficient. He's not the most accurate. Will Howard has done some things with his talent that's better than Quinn Ewers, better than Riley Leonard, and everybody in Mama know has been better than Drew Aller. Drew Aller is a solid quarterback, but Will Howard has been more efficient and played better ball than Drew Aller has this year. Here's the rest of Emmanuel Acho's quote. It might make you upset, but we're going to try to make sure that his entire thought is here on the show. Quote, "My concern is their quarterback. Riley Leonard in Notre Dame, you saw him put a team on his back. They don't have all these first-round picks. No Emeka Ibuka, no Quinshon Judkins in the backfield. Quinn Ewers is the most talented quarterback reigning. Will he play like it? We'll have to see. Will Howard is the limiting reactant for Ohio State. I like Ohio State, but make no mistake, that quarterback can underwhelm. He can underperform," end quote. So a guy that has had 6 games this year with a completion percentage of over 80% is underwhelming and underperforming. A guy that is in top 5 in the country in completion percentage is underwhelming and performing of all FBS quarterbacks. A guy that has come in and is making big boy throw after big boy throw when Ohio State decides to change the flow of their offense. All of a sudden, it's Will Howard's able to follow in the beat of Chip Kelly's drum and say, "Oh, you want to go up tempo? Baby, we got this." Will Howard's able to go out there and all of a sudden against Tennessee, who's a respected defense, torch them. Against Oregon, who got Ohio State in the first matchup, only by 1 point, but still got Ohio State, torch him. He's underwhelming. He's underperforming. Part of the reason I think Emmanuel Acho is saying these things about Ohio State is Acho played football at Texas. He was actually a pretty good player there for the Longhorns. He was a 6th-round pick in the NFL draft in 2012. Had a few stops along the way. The last one was in Philadelphia when he got out of the league in 2015. He was a third-team All-American in 2011, a first-team All-Big 12 player in 2011, and then also a second-team All-Big 12 player in 2010. So he has some accolades. He did some things great down there in Austin, Texas for the Longhorns, and he is someone that has a big microphone. He's on a national stage. And so sometimes when you're out there on those national stages, you look at the football you're watching and you wear your school's colors, your school's lenses while watching it and saying, well, Will Howard's cool. Oh, no, he's cool. But then all of a sudden it's Ohio State versus Texas. I got to put the Longhorns lenses on. And that's how I'm going to watch Will Howard's film. I'm going to dissect it the way that a Longhorn fan would or a former Longhorn player would. And that's how I'm going to do it. That's not good analysis. And I have not said hashtag poor analysis a lot on this show in a long period of time. That right there is hashtag poor analysis. You may say Riley Leonard's done a few things. Okay, cool. You may say Quinn Ewers has done a few things. Cool. Nobody thinks Drew Aller is better than Will Howard. Nobody. I have not heard anybody out here sitting up here and saying that Will Howard is, outside of Acho, he's the only person I've heard to say Will Howard is the worst quarterback left in the field. Nobody has said that. Drew Aller? No. Riley Leonard, a good quarterback. I don't think he can throw the way that Will Howard does. Quinn Ewers, arm talent's there. The decision-making is not as consistent as it needs to be. Will Howard's decision-making has gotten better. His accuracy has gotten better. His arm talent has gotten better. His accuracy is some of the best in the country. No, Emmanuel Acho, this is not good analysis. And if this is the case, now maybe he is going to say, I'm not looking through it with Longhorns lenses. This is how I analyze football. Cool. Like, that's great. You can say that, and that's a whole other can of worms. If that's how you're going to watch Will Howard play football and make this bold statement about him. But if he is looking at it through Longhorns lenses, a lot of people do that. A lot of former players, a lot of fans, a lot of people that have shows will look at stuff through the lenses of their own team, of their team, the covering, and saying, well, this guy does this and this guy does that. You as an analyst, and this is it's one of the lessons I have learned over the last 5 or 6 years. You can't look at things through the own lens of your team or the own way you look at things and say, oh man, I'm an Indianapolis Colts fan. Anthony Richardson is amazing. Nobody believes that based off Richardson's 2 years in Indianapolis, and he has not been playing good ball. You can't look at Ohio State players and say, oh man, so-and-so is amazing when they have only started 2 games and the games they played were not that good. No. If someone were to ask me about Zen Mahalski or Mitchell Melton or Austin Sareveld or Tegra Shabola or Bryson Rogers or G. Scott Jr. here as a receiver versus him as a tight end, I would have to be honest, and it would not be through the scarlet and gray lenses. It would be the honest opinion of the things that we saw during the games as we rewatch the games via the film. That's how you're supposed to analyze. Take your team's lenses off. Take the view of your own, of your former players and the way you did as a Longhorn. Take all of that stuff off. Take it away. Look at things the way you're supposed to and look at it. Just analyze the football. Not through the Longhorns lenses, not through the Buckeye lenses. You analyze the football you see on the film and take all the other lenses off. I got glasses, man. I got glasses on. I've been wearing glasses since I was, in first grade? And one thing about me wearing glasses is there are going to be times that when I take them off, things are a little fuzzy, things are a little cloudy. My vision is not the worst. I put on some glasses to some of my friends, and I've said, man, how do you look through these things? It is messing up my eyes. You got glasses. As an analyst, take all the other lenses off, your Longhorns lens, anything, just analyze the football. And when you analyze the football, there's no way you can say that Will Howard is the worst quarterback remaining. There's no way at all. I don't think he's an amazing quarterback. I don't think he's the best quarterback that's ever been made. No, we'll never say that. He's a great quarterback for Ohio State right now. He's leading the offense in the way that it needs to be led, and I expect him to have another monster game against Texas on Friday night. Thank y'all for tapping into Locked On Buckeyes here on this Thursday. Got one more show left this week, and then it's time for the big game on Friday night down there in the Cotton Bowl Stadium. It's the Cotton Bowl Classic down there in AT&T Stadium down there in Dallas. I hope all the weather down there is okay. I know as of right now, the game is scheduled to be played as normal at the normal time. Everyone down there in Dallas, get ready for the snow. If you're out there in California, praying for you because the visuals we have seen from what's going down right now in SoCal, they are scary. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. This has been Locked On Buckeyes on a Thursday. We'll see you next time.